Welcome to Trading Lounge, and this is not really about the Elliott wave analysis. This is really about what I'm going to do with my positions in the Bitcoin market. So this is a Bitcoin chart here. It's a 4-hour chart. We're looking down around the just above the $10,000 mark here, because my question for myself that I need to answer is normally that I'm a trader. So normally I just trade from one large number to the next large number of the same degree, and I get out and I do my best to manage my risk and so on. So I take a trading point of view. Now in Bitcoin here, I'm taking an investing perspective, which obviously is called HODLing or hodlers. So I need to sort of I need to make I need to make decisions about what I'm going to do with my position. So I've got probably $100,000 in cryptocurrencies and about 90,000 in Bitcoin, and that's money I invested, not money I've made. I'm probably up 100 or so, but that's not really the point. The point is that there's a lot of folks around saying that we've got a top in place and we're going to be coming back, back into the back to, well, basically, all the way back down into these sorts of areas here for this. There's some people that say we'll go to 40. I'm kind of in that camp a little bit. But what about if it does come back way down here? There's got a history of doing that, and that's what I want to have a look at today. And I don't want to get down here and say to myself, well, should I get out now? I mean, that kind of thing. So I just want to talk about all of this today. I mean, it's something that I'm going through and I'm looking for answers for, because, I've got all the way through here. I've got from this sort of area down through here, if I can just bring that up a little bit. I've just been scaling in through here. So I just started off, I think $1,000 was my first trades in here, and I wasn't that fussed about it. I understood where the pattern was, so I started to move in, and I also had to convince my partner as well, and that's another issue that many of us need to go through as well, that this is a worthwhile investment, so to speak, So while these small positions of $1,000 were moving in here, I had to talk to my partner and explain to her what I was doing. So then we upped the ante to $10,000 deposits through here, and some other odd deposits. I'm not sure what they were, maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000. So we're starting to accumulate a fair bit of money in it at this stage, and then the market goes up, and then it's sort of like, well, do we get out? Do we take profit? What do we do? What are we doing with all of this? That's the question here, because I'm seeing folks out there that get in the market and it has a few corrections or whatever, and only small ones, and then they get out again, and they're kind of accepting losses all the time, and a loss is only a loss when you accept it, and in psychology terms, where a lot of us are playing to those losses all the time. So I didn't want to get involved in that, and I don't want to get involved in that as we sort of move further up here as well. So I wanted to ask myself, well, what happens if the market just comes down to here? And what happens if it comes down to here? Because, I'm in a position, the reality is that I don't know what's going to happen, but I need to know what I'm going to do. So that's where I'm at. I think I've decided what I'm going to do if the market comes anywhere in all of this here. And that's what I want to talk about today, and how I came to that decision. So Mike sent me over thanks for that, Mike, and I did try to email you back on 3 different emails, but your email server wasn't accepting our emails. So I don't know if yours was full or anything like that, but just check on that. But Mike sent me a chart that I don't have permission to show it because I haven't asked Mike or the people that own it, but they're expecting a move way back down here for that, and that sort of got me thinking, well, what would I do? Am I going to, if it starts to come down here, how am I going to feel about myself? Am I going to sweat it out, or what's my wife going to say, and all these sorts of things? So I've had to explain to her the history of currency really, and the history of Bitcoin. So that what I sort of understood at the end of the day with currencies, and that's going back to Florence times, when the florin, the 3.5 gram or whatever it was, that came into being as the benchmark currency, and that was there for like 400 years. And then we connected our paper money, promises to that, promise money to that gold. But even back in Florence time, there was other coins that popped up as well, and that's kind of how I see sort of Bitcoin as well. But it's all a game of trust, isn't it? We trust, everybody agreed to trust on gold, and then they separated it from gold, and then everything's pegged back to the US dollar. And the only thing that's holding the US dollar together, it's absolutely nothing except trust. And that trust diminishes when they print more and more and more of it. And the Keynesian situation that the Feds are in at the moment, they're just going to print more and more and more. And that's going to obviously devalue the US dollar, and the trust is going to shift. And, are they going to, the things that they can do really is they can send it back to, they could peg the currency at some point back to gold, but there's not really enough gold, gold to peg the money to, because there's more money than more printed money than gold. So they can only peg a percentage of that back. So that's what all the gold people are kind of hopeful for. But I can't see them doing that. I can see them creating their own digital currency from the central bank. And don't forget, the banks own the Fed. It's a privately owned situation, but there is obviously a strong bond between government and the financial system. So they're likely to create their own Fed coin and manage the debt like that. I mean, they've gone to wars over to keep the currency pegged, to all the commodities, the petrodollar back to the to the US dollar in that regard. So they've been life and death situations over it. But I think what will happen, and this is only speculation, and it's only open for discussion. I mean, of course, it's just talk, but more ideas are the better. Is that I think what will happen eventually is that they'll just continue to print money. We're not at the point where we'll go into hyperinflation. That's further off, and we need a lot of events at the same time for that to occur, and those events aren't lined up as yet. But so the short term to the medium term, there won't be any hyperinflation, but it's certainly there further out if they don't get their digital currency happening. But I think what will happen is that when I look at the disruptive stocks in the world and look at what's going on in terms of AI, robotics, Geno, 3D printing, all of these technologies, they're just exponentially just moving forward, and they're likely to take Bitcoin with them, because it's part of the same family. So I think what will happen is those industries that are the future, that are just bubbling under the ground at the moment and ready to push forward, they will take Bitcoin with them. And not only that, they will start using Bitcoin as the benchmark currency. So I think it's those companies, Elon Musk taking Bitcoin for his cars and that, they will start using that as the benchmark. And then Bitcoin will become the benchmark, the reserve currency, through default of those companies going exponential, and that's how I think that it will happen. So I trust Bitcoin. I don't trust the US dollar. It's just a game of trust, and the sands will shift, and it will be done through technology. So I've decided that I will stay in Bitcoin and not sell Bitcoin. I will see the move back down here as an opportunity to continue to move in. And based on that strategy, if I just somehow clear all of that text off this here, I can do it like that. So what I wanted to do, this is a 4-hour chart. I want to go to a daily chart. And I was going to use the TradingView one, but the TradingView website, TradingView data, and I've got a premium account with them, only goes back to 2011 or 12 here for this. So this one comes back a little bit further. So, what happens if I hold it through here? What's going to and Bitcoin's not going away now because it's got all the virtuous things that we're looking for. That means that it can't be manipulated. We can just use it it's a decentralized currency. I mean, it's safer than gold and easier than gold. I think gold's going to become not obsolete, but it's not used for very much. Yeah, let's just. I want to go back way over here somewhere, and just come in through here somewhere. We just want to go through this. So this is the original. This is how much data I've got going back here. So we're seeing Bitcoin here back in 2009, 11 or something. We'll find that out in a moment. But this is as much data as I've got on it. So I just wanted to have a look at the patterns as we go through history here with all of this. This is probably the original pizza is probably in here somewhere. So this little pattern here, this is its DNA. I mean, it's just basically 1, 2, 3, probably 4 and 5 up here with some sort of ABC here. Not much volume and all of that, but and then it pushes up again. So it's just a reoccurring fractal pattern of this here. That's all I see it as. And I also think too, I think there's the people, there's people that you hear these stories where people have got zillions of dollars made from Bitcoin, and they've still got them. And I think about that. There's a lot of people that have gotten out along the way. We've got a few properties, and one of the people staying in the property was in there in 2017, and he got out right at the top just by luck. He doesn't know anything about trading, but he just felt it was time to get out, so he got out. Good for him. But there's people that have stayed in there and just kept continuing to build their positions over time, and I thought about that and how much courage that takes of going through these swings. I mean, even this first swing here from this top to this bottom here, that's back at 50% here. So you would have, lost half of your money there. Well, you only lost it because you've accepted the loss. So those people, that have been able to get these large corrections, these 50% swings, 80% swings behind them, you get enough of them, you have to go through them, and it takes courage, and you get them behind you, and then you're in front, that's the point. So this is another one here. This is a big pullback compared to this one here. If you're, depending on where you've got in here, wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, or whatever, and then some sort of correction back. And we need to note these corrections as well. This one here is really, we don't need to break it down too much. It just looks like that, and this one here looks like that. And we can continue to get a bit of an idea about that. But so there's different folks that get out along the way, and now we're at $1 at this point, and it's just obviously moved through that at $1. Let's just bring that down here. I mean, that's a huge move, isn't it? From $1 going all the way up here. I mean, this is what we're going through now, really, isn't it? Forgetting about the price. I mean, talk moves in percentages. So then, that hits up pretty much runs from $1 up to, $30, You know, what are you going through at that point? What are you thinking? You know, are you a trader? Are you a holder? Are you just, you know, are you a believer in Bitcoin, or are you just a trader there for the money? You know, that's the difference, I think. If you're in there just for the money, that's going to be a little bit difficult for you. But if you believe in Bitcoin and you've studied it enough, then you start to understand what it can do. So there's a move that's gone from $1 all the way up to 30 and back to $5. I mean, that's something that can actually happen to us right now. So this is what I was thinking, was what am I going to do about this, you know? And I'm a good trader, and I find it quite difficult to move in and out of some of these things, you know. I just trade between the levels, you know me. I would have traded from, say, if I got in at $10 here, or something, I would have traded up to $20 and probably gotten out, you know, or at least had a trading stop or something or other. But then to get out and to get back in, how do you get back in? Would I have got back in here because it's just gone back up 50% again? And go, oh my God, I've missed out here. What am I doing? You know, so there's a lot of emotion that goes on here, and I'm an emotional person, and the markets are emotional, and you know, so I need to understand my weaknesses. And I'm thinking to myself, well, in the current situation, we could be up here at the moment. Yes, I could. It's easy to say sell here and get back in over here. I mean, it's easy, is in hindsight, sort of thing. But I've got my methods for moving in and around. But it's not easy for anybody. So I'm thinking, you know, that I will just you know, I will ride this out because people have done it before me, and I think Bitcoin is here to stay. I'm a believer, not that I believe in much. I need evidence of things, but the evidence to me is telling me that Bitcoin is gathering trust, and that's what currency is. It's just trust and promises, you know. So the trust in this case with Bitcoin is real, you know. It's on the blockchain. It can't be distorted. I mean, it's just fantastic. Yeah, even if it came down even here further, like this is something that would have to go through, and that's like 6 months of this going down. That's a lot of torment, you know. But I will see this. If this happens to Bitcoin now, I will just continue to see this as opportunity to continue to gather. I've got a few different cash flows, so I'll just be able to continue to feed the beast, and this is kind of what basically happens. So it could even drop down further from here. Let's just say that we don't know, but in this case it builds up again. I mean, even in these corrections, there's a lot going on here. That's another move, isn't it? From $5 to $15 back to $7. That's, you know. But if you look at these as opportunities, then we're on our way at that point. You know, that's what, you know. I mean, the only way you're going to catch these things if you're already in it and you've been dollar cost averaging. That's what I'm doing. You know, I mean, I'm in late with all of this, but I mean, this move, for God's sake, you know, I mean, up to 100 and then to 200 and then back again, you know. And note these corrections here. This sharp move down here, it's really like the A, the B, and the C wave here in a way. It can be counted a little bit differently, but we get that sharp move down, and then we get the rally, and then it kind of peters off over here, and it can come down lower, of course, and then sort of move back up. So, you know, really looking at these, this is the $100 question here, really. But I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? The way that it moves, you know. I mean, Amazon was done like this too, wasn't it? You know. So, and these moves, I mean, look at them. You know, it's up to $1,000 now from 100, just straight up. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? You know, one's the strongest number, so we've seen it at 100 here, seen it at 1,000 here, the same sorts of things. The correction here also makes a nice ABC, going from 1,000 back to, God, way down here in this case, you know. I mean, obviously there's no commercials in here at this stage in the game, but we don't have that much commercial money in the markets anyway at the moment. You know, there's a bit in there, but there's not a lot, you know. And those damn banks, again, from the, you know, banks that have cornered the silver market and the gold market and the palladium market, they're into Bitcoin now. So they've got, oodles of short positions on there. So, we want more institutions to, push those banks out. Squeezing them in the silver market will put pressure on them, make them pop everywhere else, make them think twice. So anyway, here's a nice sort of ABC correction. That's something that is really quite clear, but the amount that it moved down through here, but also the period in which this happened was really quite short, wasn't it? From October to March, so to speak. And sure, it can come back down again, and you've got these long drawn out periods here. But if you don't stay in here, you're just not going to get that, I'm quite good, with our trading levels and Elliott wave when we're in I'm okay to get people into situations, and I have been doing that in the run up and in terms of trading, but that's fine. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about buying a little bit each day or each week or whatever it is. But I mean, from $500, or $1,000, say, where are we going here with this one? 5,000, 10,000. This is 2017, of course, up to the 20,000. I mean, look at that. I mean, from that high to that high. I mean, even currently now at 50,000 or whatever, we're another 30,000 above that one here. But that move, I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? And there's people that held and bought all the way through here, and people that held all through here. I mean, that takes courage and belief and so on. I never really even looked at Bitcoin until it was really, I don't know, down here somewhere. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, we got an impulse wave here. I've got to start getting in. So I started to move in here. I woulda, coulda, shoulda put more money in it here, but I didn't. But I did make a start. I put a little bit in, and now, I've doubled my money or whatever. But, now are we going to see, are we going to see, this sort of thing sort of happen like this back down here again, or at least to these sort of old tops around here somewhere, There's a lot of option support in the market here, but you could certainly come back down into this space here. We've done it before. So yeah, look, this is just for me. I thought it out the other day. And over the last few days, and I've talked to my partner about it, and so yeah, we've decided what we're going to do. Because normally as a trader, I'll just get out at 50,000. I'll get out at 5 because 5 is the second strongest number. I'd get out here because I'd expect a correction here, but I didn't get out, and so now I need to think about what I'm doing, and I'm okay. I mean, as I've said in my videos, I'm grateful, hopeful, thankful that if the market comes down to 40, because I will just continue to buy it. I'll be buying as much as I can only buy as much as my cash flow thing, and I don't care if I buy it here and then I'm still buying it down here as well. In this case, I mean, you can call me crazy and all the rest of it, and that's fine. But I don't mind putting in, doubling my 100,000 or, up to 300,000 or something if I can get it down into this point down here. I mean, I'll be very thankful, because based on history and based on the product that I see in front of my eyes here and the adoption that it's been taken up and the robustness of it all, I mean, it's going to take out these tops here and it's going to end up at 100,000 and 200,000, based on what we can see from before. And the game has only really just started. I mean, it's all the cyberpunks that have gotten all of this going, a few retailers have maybe pushed into this, and now it's opened up the eyes for the commercials a little bit. But the commercials, they're not even in there, they're not. There'd be people quietly buying in there, there'd be billions of dollars, flowing into there at this point. Not just Elon Musk, there's other people that have put 4 billion in and so on and so on. But Wall Street's not in there yet. And also Main Street is not even in there yet. I went to the dentist again the other day. I've got to get some things going on my teeth. And the nurse said, I had my Bitcoin t-shirt on, and she said, I got an email there to asking me to buy Bitcoin. And she said, what is it? So, it's kind of entering Main Street, but it's obviously not there yet. It's Yeah, I mean, it's hitting the news, isn't it? So it's only just recently, since it's been up here, it's been in the news. So really, the whole thing is just starting in a way. So yeah. Anyway, look, that's it. That's sort of my story, really. I had to decide what I was going to do with all my positions. So I've been building in from down the bottom here and building all the way through here. So just letting my folks know on Trading Lounge that I'm going to be holding all the way through down here. I'm not going to be emotional and upset about it. I'm going to be excited about it. The further it comes down, the more excited I'm going to be, and the harder I'm going to be to try to find money to put into it. That's my story. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I hope that helps other people a little bit with theirs. I mean, when you look at, if you don't mind me sort of looking at a few other charts here, this is the stock to flow model, and yeah, it's a couple. It's funny when you look at this, isn't it? First of all, it's a log scale. All these moves up here. So we just came back from 2010 here, didn't we? In 2009, I think we were there. So when you look at this chart, it's like easy peasy, isn't it? Why wouldn't you sell? But when you look at the reality that we just had a look at them with the charts, and we see that the market has moved, 80% swings, 50% swings. How many of those corrections? So we should have counted them, but let's just say that there was 10 of them. So can you you look at this here and you think, oh, that's really easy. But the reality is, anybody that's held through any of this here and made a fortune, they've had the intestinal fortitude to hold through 50, 60, 70%, 80% swings in the market. Not just one of them, like 10 of them, even more than 10, I don't know. But, that takes courage. So I want to be one of those people. I want to be brave, and that's what I'm going to do. So when you look at the stock to flow models, yes, there's things that we can take away from it, but it doesn't show you the angst and the heartache and the triumphs and the so on, the emotional torment that and excitement that people have been through in these things, because they just doesn't show the crashes here. It does show us as it's starting to warm up here. We've got all the orange comes in here, and when we get to the end of the orange, it gets into different stages. But even just up here yet, we haven't crossed the purple here, the 10-day stock flow. We haven't passed. We've got reds here. We haven't really gone into yellows. It's getting a little bit lighter yet. So over here we've got the yellows yet. Over here we've had the yellows yet. So we should be pushing up even further based on this stock to flow model here for this. When we look at the beam indicator here, and this is all on this company here, and I've explained this, I've shown this before, but this one here, we're moving up here. Yeah, it was dark red here, we're getting lighter red here, so we can get some corrections here. When we look over here, this is kind of the same color in here as it is over here for this, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, it's a bit like an RSI kind of thing here, the long zone, or we should call it the loading zone, shouldn't we? Yeah, it is getting high. We're up here. Can it move further? Can it drop shorter? All of that. So yeah, it's toppy, but it's not topped. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it drop lower at this point. I think the beam indicator is from Beam Economics, where it really first started. Beam Economics here, and this is kind of interesting as well. It's got all the details about it. I'm just wondering if I can just open that up a little bit further here. No, it doesn't want to open further. But this indicator here just shows in a slightly different way. It's got you're in the sell zone here, buy zone here, because it is pretty much Bollinger Bands, I'd imagine here. So the top of the bands and sell zone, buy zone, and so on. So that's where that really comes from, that beam indicator. And this just shows it in a different format here. The other one is the cycle repeat here. So currently this is the dates here, the 26th, 27th here. These are dates here of January 22, July 22, year 23, the 2024, 2025. So this is actually looking ahead here in this instance here. So this is where we are here for this. So yeah, in this instance, we've got our halvings coming into play here in the future. So it's just the cycle analysis here, but in this case, we're still moving up in this regard here as well. And I kind of, because I've been counting this up, these moves here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So this would be 3 and 4 here, and this bigger picture here is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 coming across here and going up for 5. So that would be in line with my thinking in terms of the Elliott structure here. So if I just go to, I don't know, weekly, do we got that weekly here? Yeah, so it's not, so that would, on that model we just looked at, would have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So I don't think that we've got that there yet, do you know? I think we'll have some pullbacks in all of this, but anyway, this is my long-term chart with this, and we can go in and have a rough look at this here. I'll be doing another video on Monday with the analysis for ETH and Bitcoin and whatnot, but we can just have a quick look here at the moment to look at yesterday. So I'll just go down to an hourly chart. I'll need to bring that into here. So just roughly here, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here for this, but we're looking for wave 3 here. We're looking for the A wave, the B wave, and looking down for the C wave here. So hopefully we can get down into this a little bit lower at the 40. Now, the point with all of this too, we need to get a grip on reality here. So what I should be doing here is I should also be putting this here as 1, 2, 3 here, and put that there as wave 3 there, because this can be wave 1 here and wave 2 here and 5 waves down for wave 3 here, then back for wave 4 and then down for wave 5. So this is the other reason that I'm partly making this video about the history and how I'm going to handle it, because if you're thinking that, well, I'll just trust Pete as an ABC here and I'll start buying here, and then it eventually comes down even further, and you say, well, Pete didn't tell me about that, wave 3, wave 4 and wave 5, and if we got 5 waves here, then we're going to have an ABC correction here, and then we're going to go down again from that point. We get 5 here, we're going to have a correction, we're going to have another 5 down. So that's what could happen. So if you wanted to bail, well then this is the time to bail. This here is the time to bail through here, anywhere through there, whichever way you want to do it. But yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what I'm going to do. That's my motto. All right, well, look, not a fantastic video, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. Not that I'm that kind of person. I don't need to splatter it everywhere, but I'm an analyst and an Elliott wave and trading levels and volume analyst, and I've got positions in here. Some folks have come along for the ride, so I needed to explain the bigger picture here of what could occur, and the important point about all of this is, what are you going to do?